Hey friends, it's your boy Naj. Long time no see. I know, I know. It is what it is though. Good news. I'm an ambassador now. I'm an ambassador for a cool company. Who's this cool company, you might ask? I am happy to announce that I have officially been selected to be an ambassador for Supertone AI. They are a voice AI company based out of South Korea, and they're killing the game. They actually started originally with Clear and Air, and then before they were called Clear and Air, they were called. I was like back then it was like Goyo Super Clear or something like that. That was way back when I was doing the beta, but they have now rebranded, renamed things. Their original foray was into the noise reduction space, specifically for reverb, for room noise, kind of just general crunchy, undesirable bits, and that's really helpful in the post-production space, for music, for TV, for media in general. But they started there and kind of introducing AI technology and processing into that space. Clear, I've been a long time user of. Air, I just actually got recently involved with, or you just messed around with a bit. But Air is kind of the antithesis of Clear, where it's actually recreating the room after their recent acquisition by Hybe. They got a lot of funding and they started going into the generative voice synthesis for like that space. I've had a chance to play with both their voice synthesis products, Play and Shift, and I'm going to be focusing on Shift because I love it. I am a fan. I enjoy more real-time processing and less tinkering than I have to. And this is where Shift comes into play. Just as a creator, the amount of content that can come from this thing, VR streamers, podcasters, audiobook narrators, anything that requires you to shift your voice, you could use this for. These are all completely original characters. None of these are like celebrity voices or anything, but they have a vast library, and it lets me play a lot. So let's take a look. How do you even get like Supertone installed or anything Supertone related to it? How do you sign up? So let's go through it. So if you don't have a Supertone account, that's fine because you probably wouldn't. But just open up a new page. Go to supertone.ai. I'm just opening up incognito mode because I'm already signed in. So I'm just trying to show you from scratch. But you'll be met with their nice spick and span website. You just click on the products, and then you're gonna just grab the installer. Either if you're on Mac or Windows, whatever you actually run on. I'm running on Mac in this case, but I also have Windows, so it'll download pretty quickly. It's like what 162 megs, anywhere between 100 to 200 megs at any given point. Download that. Run the installer. It installs super quickly. And so typically, because I've already actually had this installed, some of my settings are already set up, but let's say I didn't, right? Let's just say I had to start from scratch. And then you can sign in with Google or sign in with your existing or create, okay. And then when you continue and you're successfully signed in, it's going to ask you to open the Supertone Shift app, and then it'll log in itself. And then check your credentials, seeing what voices you have available. On the 2-week trial, you'll have all the voices available so you can play around. And trust me, you're gonna want to play around because it's great. You're gonna make that with this interface, and it's clean, to be honest. So you can see you have your available characters, and if you want to switch them, you just click on them. That's simple as that. And you can play a little demo of them. Like if you want to hear what that voice could sound like, you just press the little play button there. Actually, this plans button is new. I've never seen this. What happens when I do? Oh, you can see, there you go. That's what the pricing is for one time. And their subscription model is either per month, or you can just buy one of those models specifically and unlock it. That's a one-time purchase. It's good. But yeah, shout out to being an ambassador. Okay. That's all I'm saying. You could actually also minimize the screen here. They kind of have two layouts: the simplified view and then the extended view, or the full view. But we're gonna set this up as if it's the first time. So you're gonna see on the settings on the right here, you see Supertone account. You click on it. This is what your account is, and then you can see what voices you have available. And then from there, if you scroll down, you can log out or delete your account. I'm not gonna leave my account, but yeah. From there, once that's good, then you're going to select your input. This is important. So select the appropriate input. For me, it's going to be my UAD device, the Apollo, and then the output, I'm going to switch to, you could switch to whatever you need to. For this case, and because I'm recording, I'm going to switch it to my loopback device, just so I can hear everything. This recording gets everything, etc., etc. But once you do that, then you're going to select, or you can select the recording location. It has one by default, but you can select the recording location or change it if you want. But it's typically going to pop up with a voice analysis. And so you'll see this come up. And when you do get the voice analysis prompt, this will come in. You can select the input and output from here. So I have mine selected. That's good. Gonna hit OK. Cool. Click next. And then it's going to come up with this keep speaking thing. So we're going to have to read this prompt. So I'm going to read this prompt now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, Supertone Shift. The more we speak, the more we listen, the more we create, right? And it actually already finished before I did, but typically you wouldn't be speaking all of everything else. You would just be reciting this, this prompt here. So once this is done and you're good to go ahead, click done. Now Shift is ready for you and you're streaming. So you can actually see as I'm talking, like the kind of background is lighting up in relation to my voice or the signal coming in. So that's how you know at least it's working. And you can also see that it has two buttons here, the voice check and record. So we're ready to start now, right? So if we wanted to basically just try things out and just see what voices sound like, easy way to do that is just hit the voice check. So you probably hear it now. Sounds a little weird, but let's see.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? This is me. This is my voice. So let's try mess around with some of the settings. But we have volume, blend, which blends between the original and the character's voice. So if it's at 100% by default,
you can blend it down.
Bring it back up. Pitch allows you to change the pitch of the modulated voice, like so. So I'm keeping my voice completely monotone, and it's just going down because I'm messing with the little slider. And then Joy. So this basically, if you were to use play and utilize the text to speech synthesis, it allows you to change the inflection of the model itself. So Joy is just a kind of shorthand for a bunch of other back-end parameters, but essentially because it's a simplified and real-time version, Joy allows you to change the actual inflection of this particular character's voice in relation to Joy, right? So it's just saying, let's see what this sounds like. Whoa, my voice is more joyful. Now it's less joyful. There's a little more monotone, and there's no emotion. It's just completely flat, right? This kind of affects that. So it modulates pitch as well, but more specifically, it's really it's like a shorthand for those back-end parameters that would be more advanced if you were to use the API or play. As someone in music, I really like this reverb. I don't know what this is, and the processing that they have on this in general, like the voice quality, it's great. Great. I love it. Like you can literally just drop this into any project and be done. I love this reverb. What? This is clean. Oh my god. What are you saying, bro?
So that's, that's just a short example. They have some voices and models that are particularly trained to certain languages, but you can use them in any language, any language at all. But some of them are really, really more effective in some languages than others. So like Tan, for example, is really effective in Korean, but also has a great English voice. So here's what Tan sounds like.
네, 저는 나지입니다. 반갑습니다. 와, that's great. 미쳐.
Now, the fun part is putting this in context, right? So how do you get this set up in a streaming situation or a recording situation? There are three different ways. We'll go beginner, medium, intermediate, and advanced. The easiest way, obviously, to get this or get this recorded, right? It would just be to go through the interface in and of itself and just hit that record button, and then it'll record an example like this.
And then it'll record an example like this.
The intermediate step would then be to take this or to select the actual input. So when you install Shift, it will also install a virtual audio device that you can use as a microphone input for any other program. So that's Zoom, that's streaming, that's literally whatever you OBS, anything. So if you want to select that, all you have to do is find your particular thing that you want to stream into and select that as an input. So in this case, I'm gonna try, let's say, Ableton. So let's open up Ableton. Few different things to keep in mind here when you are selecting an input or you're selecting Shift as an input. A few different things are going to happen. One limitation, I guess, in particular, is that Shift only operates in 44.1 kilohertz for now. If you don't know what that means, then this really isn't relevant to you. But if you do know what that means, essentially, whatever you're recording in, make sure that it's set to 44.1. Otherwise, it'll switch to it automatically. But in the case of like the UAD device that I have, sometimes like it'll automatically switch, but sometimes it'll cause a glitch where it won't switch over to that one because one program's in 48, one program in 44, and that can cause all sorts of chaos. So before you go and select this as an input, note that you need to make sure that that app can run in 41. All apps run in 44 by default, but that it's not in anything else. So if you're in Ableton or any other DAW, Logic, FL Pro Tools, whatever the case may be, just make sure that you set your DAW to 44.1 so that you can effectively record without causing all sorts of driver mayhem. So that's one thing. The other thing is that the Shift needs to be open. So there is like the standalone app that we have on the screen. Like the standalone app always needs to be open if you're going to use Shift, because this is how you kind of navigate. There's no VST, there's no plugin interface yet. So if you want to use Shift within any other applications, Shift also needs to be open. So just keep that in mind. So Shift is open. I'm going to open up Ableton now. Just make sure I got all my settings correct. And let's see what happens. So let me throw this up on the screen. All right, so let's pull this up. I'm going to my preferences, make sure the sample rate is set to 44.1 or 44,100 hertz per second, 44.1 hertz or 44,100, same thing. And then on the audio input, in the case of Ableton, this is where you select audio input, but this is going to be applicable to anything where you select an audio input. So just make sure that your audio input is set to Shift. I'm looking through this now to see if I can find the Shift input. If you can't find it, then easiest thing to do is just close this, close out Shift, and reopen. Typically, it'll show up if you just reopen it. All right, cool. My settings are correct in here. Let's pull over to Ableton. Let's pull this back up. We should be good. Okay. All right, Shift is open. Ableton's open. Let's pull this up, see what's going on. Shift mic input. There we go. That's what we're looking for. You're looking for Shift mic input. That's the guy. All right. So Shift mic input is selected. You can select your output device to be whatever you'd like. But now that you have the Shift input mic selected, you can now go through on any available recording track or track that you have enabled for recording and use the voice. So in this case, let me split the screen here just so we can keep these on both on the same page. Right, get rid of this too, just as well as confusing. So now I have, as you can see, we have signal coming through. You can see the signal coming through in here. The signal's coming through on Ableton as well, right? So that signal that you're hearing or seeing is not my original. This is the modified voice. If I were to enable this for monitoring, you'd hear it.
So you can hear it. That's the modified voice. So now I can use it as a normal input. It's ready to go. That's beautiful. Let's try. Try. Hannah. Ooh, like it. Helen. Helen. Ooh, that's a voice. Lily.
Look, Craig. Hey, Craig. That's that boy. That's that boy.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna select Craig. Bow. That sample is annoying though. Oh my gosh. Hey. Okay. All right. I'm feeling it. Let's throw this on. Let's start. All right, boom. So now we got a random sample. I'm just gonna record a little example with the voice. Let's try recording. It's your boy Craig on the track. You know what it is. You know how we do. We get emotional in this month. So now let's see what this is like.
It's your boy Craig on the track. You know what it is. You know how we do. We get emotional in this month.
No notes. I have some examples here, just me using the voice in general. Like, let me pull these up. Here we go. So this was the Cedric voice. Let's see if we can find him. Just a reference.
This is what Cedric sounds like. I'll turn my voice with. Cedric sounds like this. He's a storybook.
But and here's some examples of just some voices that I played around with. These are recordings that I had.
Cedric, that's my name, baby, the entertainer. You feel me? Yeah, I remember one day I was down at the bar at the gym. I was doing my thing, you know. Creepy little cat came on there. I didn't like it, but I saw some teats and I was like, yeah.
Hey, yo, you just got served. What are you gonna do about it, brother?
Coco.
안녕하세요. 저는 다은입니다. 반갑습니다.
That's me. I promise you. It's weird, but it's me.
Yo soy Serrín. Estoy a punto de robarme de corriendo. Juro por Dios.
So you'll notice that's Spanish, but yeah, they translate that clean. There's no, you can use any language you want. Obviously, as they improve over time and as they add more models over time, they kind of tweak and cater certain models towards certain languages, but you can use them for any language. Zeros my boy. Zeros that he.
What do you say you and me go get some ice cream right now? I know it's like 12 a.m., but I don't want the night to end.
Come on now. You know what he's doing. Bringing this back full circle, what's the context for me? What's the point of this? You can see a little bit of it, but like in the case of me actually making songs and things like that, this is where I have the most fun, right? So actually, before I even get into this, right, I mentioned this is the intermediate step, but the more advanced, more flexible step, I feel, especially in relation to trying out new ideas and trying out other voices, but still having your voice, your original voice available. The best way I found to do this is to make an aggregate device that includes the input, the shift input. I recommend this for the most flexibility and just for the most fun, to be honest, because it's really, once you get it set up, then it's super easy to do. So what I typically do is I create a new aggregate device. So I like to, at least on Mac, right? You can do this in the Windows ecosystem as well, but it's a little different depending on what software you have available. There are virtual cables and things of that sort, and virtual mixers that you can get, like a potato meter, voice meter, but that setup's a little different. In the case of Mac, they have an aggregate device function built in setup, right? I would create an aggregate device, and then from here, let's zoom in a little bit. So I would create an aggregate device. I would select where did it go? Shift mic input and whatever your particular additional input of choice would be. So let's call it the MacBook Pro microphone, right? So now I have the shift mic input and the MacBook Pro microphone aggregate device. You can rename this to whatever you want. Test device Aggie. All right. And you can rearrange the order as well, I believe, depending on how you click them in. So if you click them in a different order, then it'll shift it around. But, you select your relevant devices, make sure everything is clocked at 44.1, and the drift correction will automatically adjust everything on the Mac side. Go ahead and select the device that you want to attach to the shift mic input, and then you can name them whatever you'd like. Shift, and then name this one not shift. Literally whatever you want. And now your aggregate device is done, right? At least as far as inputs go, right? So it's relatively simple. I like using loopback because I have a little more flexibility as to which inputs can go where, and the interface for me is a little cleaner. But you can, like I said, you can still accomplish the same thing in here, right? So mic input and my Mac Pro microphone are the aggregate devices that I've made. So that's made now. So now if I go into Ableton, right, I should be able to see my test Aggie device. Close this out. Put it in here. And if I don't see it, then I would just, I can actually open it, reopen it. So I'm going to reopen Ableton now because sometimes Ableton does not like to actually refresh. So opening that. And then in my input device, I should see test device Aggie. There we go. So now using this test device, our aggregate device, now we can actually use both our main input, like the microphone input that we have, and the shift input. So if I go back to that project, shift test, it's just the one I made. It's not that particular. But now with this, I have the full flexibility of using my original voice, but then also using the modulated characters, so I could always go back and use my own voice as a reference. I could process differently. I could do whatever I want to do. But this, I feel, is the most flexible way to get the recordings that you're looking for, and later tweak if you need to, because you have options. Options are great, right? But like I said, this is just me being extra. But I typically use this flow for music production in general, it just by default, because I have to use my own voice as well. Now, I would just select whichever one is supposed to be the OG. So I believe the way we ordered it, I can also name these in Ableton, but sometimes it depends on which show I use. In this case, I'm going to leave them unnamed, but you can name them. So number one, which would be my voice, just my plain voice. Cool. So we know this is going to be OG. And then the shift voice. So we know this is going to be our second input. And you can see there, we can also check it. And the shift is still open, mind you. So the shift always has to remain open. Do not forget. Still open in the background. But if I check it, yep, that's a different voice. So that's good. So now I know that I can record both the original and the modified voice at the same time. I also use this not just in a real-time sense, but I also use this in a post sense. So I can also use my loopback software to create a virtual input. It could take my desktop audio or the audio from Ableton in and of itself, and then use that to route into Shift in real time. So essentially, I could take all of these, like my original clips, right? But then just cycle through different effects or different voices with the same audio clip, right? So now it becomes not just, a voice modifier. Now it's an actual effect that I can modulate and change and print out to whatever I want. I switched between voices and processed them, different sections differently, because I had my loopback software set up in that way. So I could go and take this track and the audio from this track in particular and send that as an input into Shift, which again, it's a whole different workflow, but it's a game changer if you're trying to mess around with different voices. Not only can I do it in real time and just select the voices in real time, I can go back later and think about, I actually want to do this differently with the same original voice recording, which is why it's so critical to have both of these. But if you do that, oh my God. So like I said, let's take a look. This is what this looks like. In this case, here is I just made these are some collabs that I have in the back pocket. So let's take a listen to this one, just the instrumental for some. Right, so if I'm just making a full track. Right, so I'm thinking, okay, how do I want to flow on this? How do I make this happen? Who am I thinking of? Who could be on this? It's emotional. It's got a moment. It's got movement, right? Hey. Ooh. Hey. Right, now, obviously, if I'm recording this, I would actually be recording this. But, so, OGs.
This der tog som morgen op, this der godt som morgen op, klar, tit som morgen med det bit der på mig.
And then I played around with that. I think this section was like a zeros.
This der tog som morgen op,
This der godt som morgen op,
klar, tit som morgen med det bit der på mig,
this section. Changed the voice. I was like, huh. Let's do this.
Turn up, go turn up, want to turn up, turn up. Places, watch your special places. Good song on the drum, turn
Okay, like you feel me? You understand the level of flexibility, like the level of playing room that I have with that. Like, oh, y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it. Like, so let me set a little macro real quick so you can see the like A/B it real time, right? So you can have so much fun. Let me Game changer. It's a wrap. I don't need nobody else. I mean, trust me, I love having fun, but I don't need nobody else. Nobody need to be in the stew. Don't come to my house. I got all the voices. Oh my goodness. I love the process so much. Let's listen to this one as well. Like this is another instrumental from a good friend Cass. And this is kind of like banger vibes, you feel me? So it's got that lean. I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on here. So I was like, let's mess around with some stuff, right? Let's go. Straight. Woo. Throw some reverb on it. Woo. Straight. Woo.
I'm a can you do it? Those are shit on my God, you know. Come on, that is something. What's it doing? It's a one with the tone. It's a one with the tone. It's a tone.
Right. Obviously, that's not making the final cut, right? But like, what if we could just? What it would sound like with a different voice? Let's go. Hold on.
Stay. Go. I'm a brand. Can you see it?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Hold on. What are you talking about? I can't remember which voice that was. Listen, I had a list of them. I think that was Thin or Thurn. I think it was Thin. It's either Thin or Thurn. But let's see if I can find it again. Thin. What's Thin? It was Thin. Yeah, it was Thin. Thin was doing that thing. Hey. Let's go. Let's go. Too much fun. I was having a good time. Hey, that's I'm just duetting with myself. That's all me. Well done, Supertone. Well done. Thank you for making such a unique piece of equipment. It's insanely flexible. I had too much fun with it. Yeah.
It's a moment, brrrah.
on. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Shit, I'm gonna make some mess. Clip, what's some make no mess?
Right. That's fire. It's cool. But it hit different. It hit different when it's not you. Oh man, it's too much fun. It's too much fun. Endless possibilities. But Supertone Shift, you gotta go try it. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing software. And I absolutely, even if I didn't have the ambassadorship, I would still be using this in my workflow for literally every demo that I could think of, because it's just so, it just makes the creative juices flow that much more. Like I love the ability to expand my own musical palette just based on like the capacity that my voices now can take on, so I think it has been incredibly well designed, and it's they're constantly improving it, adding more voices, adding more languages, adding more tweakability. So whatever they're doing it right. So definitely go check that out. No notes. So signing off for now, but thank you for checking it out. And I'll see you in the next one. Like, what are you saying, bro? Like,
I'm ready to get, I'm doing it